Where do we go after this life? The soul's journey home. Introduction. You close your eyes one final time. The world you knew fades into silence. The noise, the weight, the stories, gone. And then something, not darkness, not light, just a deep, still awareness. Is this the end? Or the beginning of something else? All around the world, across cultures and faiths, humanity has asked the same haunting question. What happens after we die? Are we reborn? Do we dissolve into nothingness? Or do we finally return home? This is not a video of answers, but of questions. Questions that live in the heart, not the mind. Today, we trace the path of the soul, from life to death, and possibly beyond. The moment of death. A transition, not an end death, in many traditions is not viewed as annihilation, but transformation. The body ceases its function, but the essence, the consciousness, the subtle awareness appears to shift. It doesn't vanish, it transforms. In countless near-death experiences, people speak of being outside of their body, observing the scene from above. They describe not fear, but peace, not confusion, but clarity, a feeling of being embraced by something immense and deeply familiar. Some report seeing loved ones, others pass through tunnels of light or are bathed in sounds and visions too vast for words. These aren't random hallucinations, at least not to those who experience them. They're perceived as hyperreal, sharper, more vivid than waking life. This new realm doesn't feel like a dream. It feels more real than reality itself. Spiritual traditions often describe this as the soul disentangling from the material world. It's not a violent ripping away, but a gentle unthreading, as though the soul has always been tethered, not trapped, and is now being welcomed back. Back to where? Perhaps back to itself. Back to a realm it once knew intimately but had forgotten. Death becomes a mirror, reflecting all that was hidden beneath the surface. In that suspended space between one world and the next, layers peel away. Ego, status, identity. All the roles we wore dissolve, and what's left is a core presence, raw, luminous, and unburdened. There's no more pretending, no more running, just stillness, awareness, truth, and perhaps a profound sense of reunion. Maybe death doesn't take us away, but draws us inward, not to an unknown void, but to a place beyond form, where the soul rests, remembers, and reawakens. And maybe that's what death teaches us most profoundly, that letting go is not losing, it's returning, that endings are not erasure, but entryways into the vastness of being. The soul's memory, remembering who we truly are. If the soul continues after death, what exactly does it carry? Is it a blank slate, or does it carry a sacred continuity? Beyond neurons and synapses, beyond the biological brain, there might exist a deeper intelligence, a living archive of who and what we are. Mystics and spiritual traditions suggest the soul is not just a spark, but a boundless library. It doesn't just hold the memories of this life, but perhaps of many. And in these memories lie the threads of a grand tapestry. Stories we've told, roles we've played, loves we've known, and lessons we've learned. In countless near-death accounts, individuals describe something remarkable. A life review, a panoramic unfolding of their experiences, not in chronological order, but as emotional ripples. It's not a cold judgment day, but a living tapestry of empathy. You don't just see your actions, you feel them. You become the one you hurt. You become the one you healed. And in that moment, something incredible happens. The soul learns through love. It awakens not by being condemned, but by being expanded. It sees how interconnected every moment was, how no gesture went unnoticed, how every whisper had an echo. This memory doesn't fade with time. It deepens. It becomes a compass, and the soul begins to remember beyond memory, to feel its essence again, before names, before stories, before flesh, before the veils of personality covered it in masks. Perhaps we've never really forgotten who we are. Perhaps we've just been distracted. And death, in its mysterious unfolding, calls us back to that remembering, calls us inward into the silent heart of truth. The illusion of separation, reuniting with a whole. From the moment we're born, we're given a name, a body, an identity. We're taught where we end and where others begin. We learn me and them, inside and outside. These distinctions become our reality. But are they truth? Death, for many who've experienced its threshold, dissolves these illusions. It peels away the boundaries we've mistaken for truths. Suddenly, the self isn't a separate island. It's part of an infinite ocean. Many describe a feeling of merging, not disappearance, but reunion, as if the soul rejoins a vast field of light, a consciousness beyond words, warm and familiar. Some name it God, others Source. It doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling, complete acceptance, belonging, peace. In that sacred merging, fear loses its footing. The ego has no need to survive. The soul doesn't ask what it's worth. It knows. It remembers that it is love, that it always was. What seemed fragmented in life, the arguments, the trauma, the loneliness, begins to look like shadows on a wall. Real, yes, but not permanent, not ultimate, just passing clouds in an eternal sky. And in that wholeness, we don't disappear. We become more real, not by having more, but by being more, not by claiming, but by surrendering, not by effort, but by recognition. Perhaps the real illusion isn't death, but separation. And when that illusion dissolves, we don't find emptiness. We find everything. The great mystery, not knowing, is the door we search. We theorize, we build temples of belief. But beyond them all, mystery waits, not impatiently, but silently, watching. The greatest paradox of death is that the more we chase certainty, the farther truth seems to slip away. Maybe it's not because the truth is hiding, but because it's too vast for our minds to cage. Mystery isn't the absence of meaning. It's the overflow of it. It's the echo of something so immense it can only be whispered. The soul, perhaps, knows this language. It listens not with ears, but with presence. To live is to wonder. To die, maybe, is to remember what we wondered about all along. When we accept mystery, not as failure, but as invitation, something inside us softens. We let go of needing to prove. We open the door to awe. And in that space, the soul isn't lost. It's listening. Mystery humbles the intellect and nourishes the heart. It teaches us that sometimes the most sacred truths are those we cannot speak, only feel. And perhaps, in surrendering our need to know, we begin to truly understand. Preparing for the journey, living with death in mind. If death is not an end, but a return, then how shall we live? Not in fear, not in haste, but in reverence. To live with death in mind is to hold each breath as sacred, to see the fragile, flickering light in each face we pass. It's to wake up not to tasks, but to tenderness. It doesn't mean abandoning joy. It means deepening it, savoring it, recognizing its impermanence and therefore its beauty. What if we forgave faster, knowing time is short? What if we loved more openly, knowing every soul we meet is on the same journey home, What if we stopped pretending we're separate and started living like we're part of the same sky? When the moment comes, and it will, we won't carry status or wealth or titles. We'll carry essence, the quiet love we left in our wake, the truth we lived when no one was watching. To prepare for death, perhaps, is to prepare for life. To live not in survival, but in surrender. When we embrace the brevity of life, we awaken to its depth. When we acknowledge our mortality, we begin to truly live. Conclusion: the soul's journey home. So, where do we go after this life? Perhaps we don't go anywhere. Perhaps we return, not to a place, but to an awareness, a sacred stillness, a truth too vast for language. Perhaps we awaken to a reality not limited by time or body or thought. Perhaps we remember that we were never lost, that we were always home. Let us meet in the comments. What do you believe awaits beyond this life? Let's wonder together. Let's remember together.